Good morning to you this fifth day of March 2019. Welcome to NTV Today. My name is Zainab Ismail. Now, the 6th annual Devolution Conference kicked off on Monday in Kirinyaga County and is scheduled to continue until Friday, that is the 8th of March. And President Uhuru Kenyatta is set to officially open the conference at the Kirinyaga University grounds today. And we'll be joining our team in Kirinyaga for a comprehensive coverage of the week-long event where the government and its key stakeholders will be discussing what they have been able to deliver, the transformation of the last 1 year, and the progress made in the big four sectors. We'll also be joining our reporters from different counties across the country. We'll talk to Kenyans on what their view is on the state of devolution in their respective counties. The theme for this year's conference is aptly centered on the impact of devolution on the big four agenda. And at this point, let's now link up with our reporter, our top political affairs reporter, Kennedy Muredhi, who is in Kirinyaga County, leading our team there on the entire week-long event. And Kennedy, how are you doing this morning? How's the preparation going on? We understand that there were quite a number of challenges since yesterday. From what we understand was accreditation headache and as well as security issues. Have that been those challenges been addressed yet?
Well, good morning to you, Zainab, there in Nairobi. And yes, true to it, what you've said is that yesterday there were some challenges, and until this morning, what I do understand is just about 3,000 people have already been accredited. And this week-long event, we were expecting about 6,000 delegates. And all these people, as we have already seen, is that they're already starting to trickle in, and as early as 6 o'clock in the morning, there were people at this arena here at the Kirinyaga University, and all of them are expecting to see President Uhuru Kenyatta, who will be coming to open up this devolution conference probably in the next hour or two. But what we have seen is that the security menace that has been there has been rectified, and the kind of security that is here this morning is actually top-notch, as nobody is being allowed into this arena without accreditation, and we had to come in a bit early to make sure that all this is going to take place. But right now, as we're taking stock of devolution 6 years later, there are issues that governors and the stakeholders who are in the governance sector will really want to pat themselves on the back and say that, yes, we have come this far and we will not have achieved as much as we have in only 6 years. But there are those who believe that the challenges that are there should not have been there 6 years on. So what will they be taking stock on? I am now joined by His Excellency Governor Alfred Mutua from Machakos. Governor Alfred Mutua, I have covered him for quite some time, even including at the Senate, where he has come to answer questions. And one of the important things that he came and he tried to defend himself was with regards to when he took over office in 2013, he hit the ground and said that there are problems that are bedeviling my people, and I do not want to do away with that. I want to go straight into what it is. And he got into problems when he bought ambulances and all that. And the simple answer then was, we need to hit the ground so that our people get the services that they want. 6 years later, do you regret that decision that almost cost you a job, whether with the EACC and also with the Senate?
No, I mean, that was cleared. I mean, I'm very glad it went up to the Court of Appeal. I was never charged. The new DPP looked at the file and realized this was just basically a witch hunt. Because how do you see, the whole essence of devolution is to be able to bring services to the people. Kenya is a very poor country, and it's remained poor because for many, many years, people have just been operating from Nairobi, making decisions of people on the ground. So unakuta mtu anaamua maji itachimbwa wapi na yuko Nairobi. Mtu anaamua madawa itaenda wapi, barabara itajengwa wapi, na yuko Nairobi. We say that we need to have power in the hands of the people. So that is why devolution came. When I got into Machakos, there were about 4 ambulances serving 1.2 million people, 1.3 million people. 4 ambulances. Come on, hata kama tuko third world namna gani. So we bought 8 ambulances. Machakos is lucky. We have an ambulance in every location, functioning free of charge. Our mothers used to die on the streets, giving birth, blood on the road. Nowadays, no woman dies on the road. We take them to hospital. We have revamped our health center, our healthcare systems, Machakos hospitals. I went to Machakos level 5 when I became governor. You could smell blood from placenta about 300 meters away from the hospital. It was stinking. Now we have, I think, I'm proudly to say, the best hospital in the country, in the Republic of Kenya. Best public hospital. Clean, our mothers shower with warm water. That is devolution. You look at the roads that we've made, the interconnectivity that we've done in Machakos, in many other counties. That has only happened because we have got governors and we've got MCAs and we've got governments right at the local level.
But I want to ask a question. Probably there's so much that you say you have done, but are the laws a problem now that probably you would want to put up, or you would want to sink a borehole at a certain place, but the laws that are there limit you from doing that? Do you think that governors should have more laws that actually empower them more, or the laws that we have are sufficient, but we need to use them in a specific way?
You know, I learned something from the late Mheshimiwa John Michuki. He called me to his office after I became the government spokesman. He was the first minister actually to invite me to his office. And when we got to his office, he had put on the table many books of law. And he told me that the Michuki rules, he did not invent any new laws. He just took the laws that are existing and he made them work for them. Laws, it's what you do with them. You know, in Kenya, we've become so process-oriented and complaining all the time. I've been able to dig over 400 new boreholes, equip them with solar. I've dug over 220 dams. I have 175 river weirs. I'm piping water to homes. I'm changing lives with the existing laws. So it's what you are able, it's all about the drive and the motivation. Somebody once said that your legs can only take you as far as your brain can go, as your dream can go. So if you have a vision for the people in changing lives, then it is possible to go there. Yesterday, something came up very poignant during the meeting with the president. The governor for Nyeri stood up and was trying to explain some of the issues, and he talked about his time. And the whole issue of the importance of Agenda 4 came into being. Why are nurses going on strike? Why do doctors strike? Why are people on strike? Because people don't have money. Hakuna pesa. Kenya hakuna pesa. People are feeling the pain. But if we get things moving, we get the cost of living lowered by building real cheap houses, by building more roads, so the cost of transportation goes down, then people don't go on strike because the shilling can move further. But right now, when you're paying so much money just for bread, so much money just for moving because the transport system is weak, then people go on strike and they look for money. We need to grow this economy, and you can't grow this economy from Nairobi. It has to be from the counties. That is why even myself and my party, Mandeleo Chap, I'm party leader, we are taking a bill either to the National Assembly or to all the counties, where we are demanding and we are asking that the national government builds a factory in every constituency. So we can get 290 factories. That is manufacturing. You go to Europe, every village has a factory. That is how our young men who are my age and young women can get employment, so they don't have to depend on handouts from corrupt politicians.
Well, it is good that you're also talking about corruption and all that, but there is another pregnant point that has even been discussed at the Senate level, and this is the matter of the health system and the units that are being seconded to you from the national government. When you came in, the money that was being deducted at that particular time was 90 million shillings, about 90 to 100 million shillings that was being deducted at the exchequer. That money has gone up over time, and some counties are complaining that what they are getting is as much as a stretcher, bandages, and they are being deducted 200 million shillings. What are your views on this as a county now that you're a second-term governor and you've experienced this, and is your county being deducted that 200 million?
I think there's been challenges in some counties. You see, Machakos was the first county to actually launch or accept this equipment. And as a result, I think we got the best. We don't have a problem with using the machines and using the equipment in Machakos. The other day, we had an unfortunate accident involving the High Commissioner from Zambia in Machakos. We were able to take the injured people into our theaters that were operating at the same time. We had dual surgeries happening at the same time. We were able to save lives. We were able to take them to an ICU, which we were able to put together using this equipment that were given when President Uhuru Kenyatta even came to launch them. And so we were able to keep them there. It was not a matter of them coming and have to be transferred in the middle of the night to Nairobi or elsewhere. Machakos is in a capacity now, you don't have to transfer people unless their families want them to be transferred. And we want to beef up our doctors and consultants so they can work. For me, they have worked. I'm not complaining. I'm worried about the escalation of costs. Because when you start with a figure and it keeps on escalating, we have to get worried and ask, is this justified, Or are these hidden costs because of corruption? Are people eating? So we just need a clear explanation of why. We are reasonable people. I'm a reasonable person. My machines are functioning. But if people are being charged in some counties and the machines are non-existent or are not functioning, then there's a problem there. But mine in Machakos are functioning. But you know what it is, people will behave the way you want them. You force them to behave. If I am the client, I'm going to demand the supplier to provide me the services that I need. But if you just laissez-faire, unangoja wafanye mambo yao, people don't move unless they're pressured. That's the way it is all over the world. It has to be result-oriented.
Well, now the last question probably is, are you happy that devolution is here in this country? Do we say that we've made strides as a country when we have implemented devolution, or have we settled back and we actually devolved corruption?
We have changed lives. Today, tell Kenyans that you want to remove county governments and remove devolution, and you will have a revolution. People on the ground have felt it. Leave alone people sitting in Nairobi and tweeting and working. Go to the village. People have seen water. People have seen roads. People have seen improvement of towns. People are seeing economies coming up. Villages, hoteliers are building up. In Machakos, I built a new stadium in 1 month. Our mothers and mamambogas, they sell out their goods when their team's playing. We have the People's Park. We've got thousands of people who come to Machakos every day. I have built tourist centers across the county of Machakos. There's money in Machakos that was never there before. When I became governor in Machakos, the land in Machakos town was about 200,000 shillings per acre, 250,000 per acre. If you're near the road, maybe 300,000 shillings. Today, that piece of land is nearly 10 million shillings per acre. In less than 5 years. Land prices have gone up because of the demand. We're getting factories are building up. I've gotten about nearly 40 new factories coming in with investors already in Machakos, employing people just because of devolution. Remove the devolution, this country will burn.
Thank you very much. That is Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua giving his account on what he has actually done in Machakos County and lauding what they discussed with President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday with regards to ending the civil strikes. And one very interesting thing came up, and they are saying that it is time that we even it is time that we also have nurses on contract. And I don't want him to go before he gives me his point on this. And there is a resolution that, yes, it is time that we give the nurses not a permanent job, but on contract so that we can arrest this civil unrest that they are making every now and then. Do you think it's the best idea?
I think the discussion that we've had as governors, and I think as a national government, is that for all public servants, is for them to be on contract. We are on contract as governors. If you go to Europe, that's the system. These issues of permanent and pensionable has evolved and gone away. If you're on contract, it can be a contract that is renewable based on the way you're working, not based on just process. Hii mambo kwenda ofisi unatoa koti unaweka hapo unapotea will not be there. We want people to be able to log in and give value for money. That's what has happened. So I'm in full support of contracts as long as people get their rights. Also have the environment good. If it's a hospital, get it to be a good working environment for the doctor so it's a safe environment and make the workplace better for your people. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Governor. I'll let you go so that you do not miss out. But that is Governor Alfred Mutua, and we also want to get this view from senators. And I am now joined by Bomet Senator Christopher Lange, probably to give us his view on what he thinks devolution is all about. Are we on the right track with regards to devolution, or have we lost it as a country?
Bas, thank you very much. That is a very nice question. I want to answer by simply saying we are on the right track. But the greatest challenge with the devolution is that the devolved functions have not been closely been followed by resources. The money that goes to the counties is very little, and on top of that, it is always dispersed very late. And I want to say also, the greatest challenge with the devolution and the Agenda 4 has to do with the approaches. Devolution entirely is bottom-up approach, where the wisdom, the knowledge, and the feelings of the people on the ground must be taken into consideration through what we call public participation. so that what has to be done to them, they are the ones who actually give their feelings and what they want. Us as leaders is to prioritize them in terms of the agency. But the Agenda 4, the good thing is that it has most of the items in Agenda 4 are devolved function. But the challenge is the approach. Agenda 4 is top-down approach. This is something that people are feeling that we are pushing down their throats. And people have not understood fully about the structure, the framework that guides the Agenda 4. For example, when you go today to Bomet, when you go today to Kericho, or even Kirinyaga here, and tell the people about housing, they have got their cultural way of living. For them to understand the idea of coming together and then concentrate in a place, live in some houses, that one is still a challenge. So I want to say that for us to succeed in Agenda 4, we must organize them in terms of priority. For example, universal health. The greatest challenge with the issues of the health is that health is a devolved function. But has it been followed by resources? And if it has been followed by resources, like now in the Senate, we have got an issue with the materials or the facilities, the equipment that were brought. Do you know the challenge is? The approach was top-down approach. People are not asked, which one do you want? Which one is a priority? That is why most of these particular equipment have been given to places where you find even electricity is a challenge. That basement assessment was not done effectively.
But then again, there is that view that somebody was saying that it is time that the health services were taken back to the national government because even the county governments are mismanaging it. Do you hold the same view?
I don't hold the same view. The county government are not mismanaging the health sector. Before it was devolved, it was worse than currently. And you know the money that goes down there, very little. Most of the resources are still held in the national government. So if resources are devolved effectively, then the health sector has succeeded. For example, the management, supervision has gone closer to the people. That is why some counties, you saw, nurses never went on strike because they are in agreement with what is happening in the counties. Health before was worse than now.
Probably also with regards to what is happening in counties and making sure that everybody is satisfied. Do you believe if a referendum were to be held right now and the question was put that do we do away with devolution, do you think it is a matter that Kenyans would really accept to, or it will just not work?
Taking away devolution, I'm telling you, forget about that. Even if 10 referendums now are done today, that one will never be acceptable. One, devolution has created employment down there in the counties. Number two, devolution has taken resources down there. In fact, the question that should come very prominently in the referendum is that 45% of the resources should be devolved, of the resources, so that more money goes to the ground. Don't you see all the projects which are national have got a lot of problems?
Now, I'll ask something that is very close to your heart, and that is with matters to do with education.
Yes.
And education, the early childhood is actually devolved, and counties are struggling to make this happen. Do you believe that also it is a fact that counties are doing it as it should be done, or there is a problem with regards to the ECD and classes, and that problem of teachers at the ECD level?
The greatest challenge now is you see some governors get into what we call cheap popularity. You find them, instead of concentrating on the functions that have been devolved, for example, ECD and vocational training, you find some of them building secondary schools, which is a national function. You find some of them building primary schools, which is a national function. So my take is that primary schools and secondary schools should be devolved and resources on the same be devolved, so that the county governments get organized in such and prioritize them. Because you get some areas, they don't have a secondary school, and they need a classroom in secondary school, and already they have what? An ECD class. So what do? You find the governors building a secondary school, a laboratory. So what, according to me, in education, education should have been devolved right from secondary schools down, and then mid-level colleges and universities should have become a function of the national government.
Well, there is another factor that I know will feature very much with regards to this sixth devolution, and that is the fight between governors and senators when it comes to representation. And they believe that senators are just at the Senate trying to warm the seats so that they can start fighting governors in readiness to taking those positions in 2022. Are you one of them?
That is a lie. I want to tell you, if the governors does their work well, what is the worry? Those who are worried are the ones who are already doing poorly. But if you know your role as a governor, the senators knows their role. If the senator comes and say, this thing has been messed up, you know, the challenge is that when some governors are, when the senators do their oversight role, they feel uncomfortable, and they take as a scapegoat that senator wants us to become a governor. Nobody is interested. If the governor is doing well, you know, I want to tell you, my friend, yeah, the vacuum comes when you are not doing the right thing. Otherwise, if you are doing the right thing, like Kifuta Kibwana, like others governors who are doing the right thing, who will even get interested of standing?
Thank you. We'll leave it at that. And it was an interesting view from him, and says that those senators who won these positions of governors are only looking at opportunities where their governors are not doing well, and there is a gap. And these are things that probably will be featuring here, and they have been featuring at the COG, that is at the Council of Governors, as they try to scratch their minds and make sure that how do they come in. Another question that will be discussed is with regards to what we have seen at, on the program, is that matter of the blocks, that is the economic blocks that have come up. And most of them, the governors, will be discussing this question to see the viability of these economic blocks and how they are helping the people with regards to devolution and advancing the interest of a particular region. Right now, we can see so much activity happening. We can also see some helicopters that are coming. We do not know which dignitaries these are, but right here, what my camera person is trying to show is that is the arena, and that is the main arena where everything will be happening, and that is where President Uhuru Kenyatta will be coming to officially open this function so that he can set the stage for what will be discussed in the next 4 days until Friday, when this devolution conference will be ending. Another challenge that we have seen in this particular region is that challenge of accommodation. And most people who are in this particular forum, in this particular arena, most of them are coming from as far as Nairobi on a daily basis so that they could just come here in time for this devolution conference. The accommodation here in Kirinyaga County has been a bit of a challenge, and most people are even coming from as far as Meru, as we've also been able to understand. And that matter probably will be discussed as they'll be looking for the next venue of the devolution conference, because there are other regions that have not tested such a function. So these are some of the issues that we'll be keeping a tab on, just to make sure that you are informed. 360, we have what governors are saying, that it is time, and nobody, even if we had 10 referendums, nobody would agree to the fact that devolution should be abolished. It is something that is good, and Kenyans are already embracing it. We'll be hearing from President Uhuru Kenyatta, who might even be talking about the civil unrest that we've been noticing, corruption in counties, and we'll be trying to hear what remedies he has for counties at this particular time. We can also see that is Governor Olelenku coming, that is Governor Mwangi Wairia, and Governor of Machakos, Alfred Mutua. All of them are coming in readiness for President Uhuru Kenyatta, who might be coming within the next hour. Right now, I'll take you back to studio for more.
All right, Kennedy Murray, then of course we'll be joining you later on with more details of what is happening at the Devolution conference in Kirinyaga County. We'll also be listening into what President Uhuru Kenyatta will say as he officially launches that conference. But at this point, let's now link up with our reporter Martin Mwaura, who is in Muranga County. A very good morning to you, Martin. What are the residents of Muranga saying in regard to the state of devolution in their county?
Thank you so much, Zainab. As you have rightly said, you are coming from Muranga County, that is County 021. And on our topic for today, which is the scorecard on devolution, I just want to engage some of the residents who come from Muranga County, just to tell me their views. Has devolution really worked for them? What are the challenges? What should be done to make it better? Has it failed? Has it worked? Without much further ado, let me talk to this guy over here just to tell me what is your views on devolution. Has devolution really worked for you as a resident of Muranga or a Kenyan citizen?
What I can talk about the devolution, yes, my name is Humphrey Gikonyo. I'm a Muranga resident. Devolution for me, I can say, is a 50-50 situation because some of it has failed, the others has gone. At least we have reaped some benefits from devolution.
Which are?
Yes, for example, in our county, we can proudly talk about a creamery, one of the creameries that our able governor has been able to build at Maragua, and automatically that one will give benefits to the farmers of Muranga County and automatically improve our economy. But in terms of health, countrywide, I don't think health has worked as was intended. So for me, I can say devolution is 50-50. Some aspects have gone well, the others we have. I cannot say we have totally failed, but at least need some improvement or go back to the national government.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay. Let me talk to another resident over here. Just start maybe by introducing yourself and tell us, has devolution worked for you?
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Beson Mongi Kariuki, a resident of Muranga County. Yeah. So to me, I think devolution has worked. Because if you take a case of our county, Muranga County, I've seen a lot of improvements in the farming sector, the dairy sector. The dairy sector has improved a lot, and the farmers have benefited from that. If you look at the health sector, though there are complaints, I can take a case in our hospital. I've seen a lot of improvement, for example, in the renal unit. I used to see people going to Nairobi for dialysis. But now I can see in our county, in our hospital in specific, they're handling that comfortably. More than 20 patients in a day. Yeah.
Now, maybe in terms of corruption, do you think it's something that is embedded in counties?
I don't think really, because at times it is politicized. So, politics takes the center stage. And the issue is politicized all over. Sometimes there is no even corruption. It's about politics. So, yeah.
Maybe out of 10, how much can you give?
I can give it 6 out of 10, because at times it is not the county government's failure. Sometimes the national government contributes to the failure of devolution. Because if you look at this complaint of dismantlement of the funds, for example, we are told that in the hospital there are no drugs. But when you look at the other side, it is the Treasury that has not released the money. So the problem is not the county. The county is willing to deliver those services, but the Treasury is causing delay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. Let me talk to one last resident over here. Maybe you can just start by introducing yourself and tell us, has devolution really worked for you?
Yes, my name is Kevin Mboro. I'm a businessman in Muranga, a.k.a. Mboro M-Pesa. Okay, I can see devolution working, but not as per our expectations. So that's the difference. The devolution is working, but not as per our expectation, because remember, we are doing it, it's the first time we are doing it in Kenya. Some countries like Nigeria and America, they have taken time and still have challenges with devolutions. But I can see it working, but I don't like the way the national government is distributing the resources. That it should be, in my own opinion or in my own view, it should be distributed as per the population, not as they are doing now. Because maybe when you build a level 5 hospital in Garissa, for example, and you build a level 5 in Muranga, people of Garissa will be more satisfied because the population is small. But people of Muranga will not be satisfied because the population is high. They require more medicine, more maybe facilities, hospital facilities, and so on and so forth. So it's not that the devolution is not working, but it's a distribution of national government to county government resources. The way the resources are distributed, that formula, I disagree with that formula. And also, we can see it working because we have seen farmers getting their products being assisted by county government, being at a good price. Maybe like, for example, in our county, avocados, macadamia, and milk. So we are seeing county government doing some improvement on those products and doing some marketing for them. So they are benefiting, farmers are benefiting. We have seen street lights. In my area, that I'm a business person, I can see devolution work because we are almost, to be specific, in Muranga town, we have street lighting, which help us to maybe do more business at night. Because when we didn't have the devolution, the county government, there was no street lighting here. So we are saying we are almost getting there. We are not yet there, but we are getting there. Yeah, that's my feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bwana Samuel.
Thank you.
Zainab, as you have just heard, those are some of the few comments from Muranga residents. They are saying some part of devolution has worked, some sector are still a challenge. And as you could have heard from the first speaker, he said health has been an issue and was requesting if it can be taken back to the national government. Back to you, Zainab.
Thank you so much, Martin Mora from Muranga County. Of course, those are sentiments from the residents of Muranga on the state of devolution in light of the devolution conference happening in Kirinyaga County. It is the 6th edition of the devolution conference. And in other news that is happening is the fact that Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich is currently being grilled at the Directorate of Criminal Investigations headquarters along Kiambu Road over the Aror and Kimwarer Dams saga, which is in Elgeyo Marakwet County. And of course, Rotich, we understand, has been there since 5 a.m. and is expected to shed light on the 21 billion payment for the dam projects that have yet to commence since 2017, and will be joining later on in the course of this broadcast. Seth Olale will bring us to light, or bring us more details on that ongoing investigation. But of course, just staying on the devolution conference, let's now link up with our reporter Melita Oletenges, who is also in Kirinyaga County. Melita.
Indeed, Zainab, as you've rightly put it, we are coming to you from Kirinyaga County, and where I'm standing right now is the main dome where a lot of discussions will be taking place here. We've had a number of delegates filtering in thousands, getting to know their places where they're going to settle for the rest of the conference. Now, Zainab, in this particular dome this morning, we've had a number of speakers taking to the stage, addressing a number of issues, and the speaker who's on stage at the moment is a representative from Oru Foga. His name is Mustafa Sicily. We'll have a number of speakers taking the stage to address a number of issues. Remember, we are expecting today we'll have a number of senators, including the host Senator for Kirinyaga, who's Charles Kibiru. We also have the minority leader in the Senate, that is James Orengo, and also the majority leader in the Senate, Kipchumba Murkomen, making their remarks. That is actually before the president arrives later in the afternoon. But Zainab, the process of getting into this dome is actually not that easy. The security has been bolstered in and out of this compound. We've had members being actually told that they should walk around with their badges at all times. But that aside, Zainab, will be looking at a number of issues that will be discussed in this devolution conference. We'll be looking at the Big Four agenda, including trade and manufacturing, universal health coverage, affordable housing, some of the issues that will be discussed here. And we've spoke to a number of senators and the governors regarding the expectations and what they're saying in regards to the universal health coverage. Yesterday, we saw the Cabinet Secretary for Devolution, Eugene Wamalwa, alongside with other dignitaries, visit the Nyeri County Referral Hospital just to get to know how the universal health coverage in Nyeri has continued to work. And in particular, they are saying that the number of patients being treated in many of these hospitals has increased due to the universal health coverage. And remember, the UHC was rolled out in 4 counties, including Kisumu, Machakos, Isiolo, and Nyeri. So then some of the senators we've been able to speak to, including the host senator for Kirinyaga, say that, you know what, this UHC program is something that now should be fast enough be rolled out to other counties, so that many other residents of different counties continue to enjoy the perks that come with the universal health coverage. Remember, this comes in handy for those who are seeking treatment in different health facilities in order to get the treatment even without the insurance, and those who cannot afford some of these services can just walk in and be treated. So that is what we'll be looking at in particular. And remember, there are a number of issues that we expect also to see the governors addressing their milestones in the last 1 year, what they've been able to achieve, and we'll be keeping a keen eye on that as well. So that is the situational update here in Kirinyaga County main dome. And right now we have the facilitator, who's the senator for Muranga County, that is Irungu Kangata, who's facilitating this session. But that's all from me here, Zainab, in Kirinyaga. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Melita Oletenges, within or inside the dome where the conference is happening. And of course, we'll be expecting quite a lot to happen, expectation of governors on the Big Four agenda. And of course, the milestones that the governors have been able to undertake over the course of their leadership within the counties. But let's now link up with Seth Olale, who is at the DCI along Kiambu Road, where we understand that Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich is currently being grilled over the Aror and Kimwarer Dams saga in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Now, Seth, what is happening currently? What can you give us? What information do you have at this point?
Thanks so much, Zainab. The Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, and like you mentioned, Henry Rotich, arrived here at the DCI headquarters at exactly 5:45 a.m. and he's here to answer some of the questions that the DCI Director, George Kinoti, wants clarification about. That is the expenditure and the money that was paid, an advance fee that was paid towards the constructions of the 2 dams in Elgeyo Marakwet County. And indeed, the CS has already arrived here. That particular grilling is undergoing, and we're being told that he's also being told to record a statement. And remember that this is the second time that the CS has been questioned by the Director of Criminal Investigation, Director George Kinoti, over the dams scandal. And what we know is that the National Treasury, through the CS Rotich, did issue a copy of the planning and expenditure format that outlined how money was spent towards this particular project. And according to the CS for Treasury, Henry Rotich, about 20 billion shillings was spent on this particular project. Remember that this is just 15% of the fee that is supposed to be paid for the 2 projects. And according to the advertisement that was issued, or that was published in some local dailies over the weekend, it did indicate that about 19.8 billion shillings was spent by the National Treasury, although the CS was very categorical that this was a loan that was acquired towards this particular project. But critics are questioning what criteria was used to even obtain the loan, and they're saying that this is basically taxpayers' money. So CS Rotich, what the DCI want clarification from the CA is why did it go ahead to issue money for this particular project? And there were already some questions that were unanswered in regards specifically to the company, the Italian firm that was contracted towards this particular project. And remember that also some of the developing stories that we have today is that already there is question in regards to the credibility of the Italian firm that was contracted to actually put up these particular dams. Up to now, no sizable, or rather no realistic operation is undergoing at Elgeyo Marakwet in regards to construction of the dams, and so the CS is supposed to answer, to rather give clarification on why did it go ahead and award this particular money through the KFDA in regards to the construction of the dam, and just some of the numbers that are being questioned in this particular. Remember that there is also a particular insurance company also from Italy that was given actually 11.2 billion shillings in advance. And like I say, that this is just 15% of the total expenditure that the National Treasury is supposed to remit towards this particular project. So already there has been a lot of reaction both from political and economic circles in regards to the stand, or rather to the decision by the National Treasury CS Henry Rotich to grant these monies for the projects that are yet to kick off in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Yesterday we had some of the reactions from a section of politicians led by ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi, who was in Coast region, and he criticized the manner at which investigations are being interfered with, and he was very categorical that the DCI should be let to conduct these particular investigations. Remember that George Kinoti, who is the director of the DCI, did say that he is investigating irregular payment of up to 21 billion shillings. But according to the CS, that it is only 19.8 billion shillings that was paid. That is actually a short of 1.2 billion shillings, according to both statements. And what Musalia Mudavadi yesterday said is that the DCI, the ESCC, and the Office of Director of Public Prosecution should not be intimidated. No one should interfere with the ongoing investigation. And so they told a section of politicians, especially from Rift Valley province, just to keep off and stop criticizing the manner at which investigations are being conducted. And also those sentiments were actually aired also by, or rather repeated, by Alfred Keter, the MP for Nandi Hills, and his Cherangani counterpart, that is Joshua Kutuni, who issued a press statement yesterday at Parliament buildings. They also supported the move by the DCI Director George Kinoti, who says that he will try to get to the root of the investigation and try to actually bring to account all those who have been implicated in this particular scandal. And so the MPs and also the ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi were in unison calling for the investigating agencies to continue with their work. And of course, there was also a statement from the Office of Director of Public Prosecution and from Nurdin Haji himself, who is the director. And Nurdin Haji did caution the media against misreporting this particular scandal, but also was very categorical that indeed investigations are ongoing, but his office is yet to receive the files from the DCI. And so he's calling upon Kenyans and stakeholders involved in all this just to give the DCI some time to complete investigations, and when the time comes, he will receive the file and he will take the next appropriate action. But for now, what we know is that the CS for National Treasury, Henry Rotich, arrived here at the DCI headquarters at 5:45 a.m. He is currently being questioned in regards to what his ministry did in regards to payment of about 20 billion shillings for the construction of the Aror and Kimware dams in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Those particular 2 dams have not been constructed yet, and this is what meant, or rather this is what caused the DCI Director George Kinoti just to move in and start investigations into this possible multi-billion scandal. And of course we'll keep you posted to what happened here at the DCI headquarters. Zainab.
We'll continue linking up with Seth for more details on what is currently happening at the Directorate of Criminal Investigations headquarters along Kiambu Road on that grilling of Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich. And still sticking on the same, Henry Rotich, the CS, had been summoned to appear at the DCI headquarters today over the alleged 21 billion shilling Aror and Kimware dams scandal. Now, the ministry's planning and expenditure on the 2 dams estimates that 20 billion shillings was paid out contradicting claims by Deputy President William Ruto that only 7 billion shillings had been spent so far. And as Seth Olale reports on the contradictions and inconsistencies even within cabinet.
National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich is the official of highest profile in President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration to be summoned by the Director of Criminal Investigations, George Kinoti, over graft. Rotich, who is key to investigations into the multi-billion shillings Aror and Kimware dam scandal, is required to record a statement at the DCI headquarters Tuesday morning. The Treasury CS, in a statement, illustrated how 19.8 billion shillings had been paid to different firms in the 2 projects on various dates at the end of last year. The amount estimated by the National Treasury is 1.2 billion shillings short of the 21 billion shillings the Directorate of Criminal Investigations is pursuing. According to the statement, Italian firm CMC di Ravenna was on 22nd December 2017 paid 4.3 billion shillings as an advance fee for the Aror Dam and a further 3.5 billion shillings for Kimware Dam on November 6, 2018. Both at 15% of the contract's 28.5 billion shillings for Aror Dam and 23.1 billion shillings for Kimware. Treasury's figure for Amoror Dam differs by 100 million shillings from the one provided by Kerio Valley Development Authority, KVDA, in its advertisement last week. SACE Insurance Premium, an Italian government agency, received 11.2 billion shillings to cover 100% of the principal and interests against any potential financial risks. The 2 projects also cost a total of 546 million shillings as structuring fee, 360 million shillings commitment fee, and a further 3.5 million shillings as annual agency fee. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations already questioned KVDA Managing Director David Kimosop over the multi-billion shilling scandal. Detectives are also following the trail of 4 billion shillings believed to have been wired to Nairobi from Italy as kickbacks. Meanwhile, ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi and other leaders demand that the investigating agencies are allowed to work without interference.
They are beginning to intimidate the president, let alone intimidate DCI, let alone intimidate AESCC. They are moving to the next level where they want to intimidate the president so that he can go slow on the fight against corruption.
We cannot be at the same government where we have put in place measures and machinery to ensure that we fight corruption, and then we become the same people who are supporting it.
Kuna kiongozi moja amesema kwamba vita ya ufisadi isikuwe ni yeye. Mimi nataka kuuliza nani alikuwa amekutaja? Ama imekuwa ni yule mwizi kujijua mwenyewe kabla ya kutajwa?
The Director of Public Prosecution, Nurdin Haji, through a statement sent to Newsroom cautioning against misreporting on the scandal, has indeed confirmed that investigations are ongoing and is waiting for files from the DCI in order to take the next action. Seth Olale, NTV, Nairobi.
Of course, and remember that we'll continue linking up with Seth Olale, who is currently at the DCI headquarters along Kiambu Road, where Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich is currently being reeled there over the loss of the 21 billion shillings. But of course, remember today, the Devolution Conference will be officially opened by President Uhuru Kenyatta later on, and maybe an hour or so from now. But of course, let's now link up with Oko Kusa from Kisumu County. Now, Oko, what is the view of the residents on the state of devolution, and what are the expectations on what the Devolution Conference is expected to deliver at the end of it?
Well, Zainab, of course, as you know, Kisumu is considered as the birthplace of devolution, and therefore the residents here cannot miss to say something about this particular mode of governance, which a lot of people think that traces its roots in these parts of the country. And therefore, I'm joined here by a couple of Kenyans who are going to share with us their thoughts regarding devolution and their expectations, of course. Let's start with this gentleman here, Salim.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Salim Onyanga Elias Tosha. I'm saying about the devolutions, men and women who thought about the revolution, they think of a good idea. We so far, we are seeing it's very great. I, as a resident of Kisumu County, under our governor, Professor Peter Nyang'nyong'o, is doing a great job. He's doing a great job to us, and we are happy. We can see the development is being trickled down to the people, closer to the people. We are seeing a lot of activities taking on compared to the last regimes. Money were being used up there towards the ministry. Today we can see a lot of development, roads being opened everywhere at every homestead, water at every homestead, issues of health care. We as Kisumu residents, we as Kisumu County, we are very happy of universal health care, which was spearheaded by our beloved governor, Professor Peter Nyang'nyong'o. The exercise has took on well. Our people are getting treatment at their nearby hostels and many other development. And we can see his manifestos is being processed and followed by the latter. Thank you very much, my brother.
Let's take another gentleman. Start by introducing yourself.
Isaac Oyango is my name. I'm a resident of Kisumu County. I want to welcome the idea that we want to speak about the development in terms of devolution is concerned. My first key word is to state to the county that we are very happy for the devolution, because we've seen some developments coming up, but it is hindered by the virtue that the government is not delivering the monies in good time. And we want also to request the national government that the dispatch, however the budget is made and it's passed, let the money be let the dispatch be done at once, so that when we categorically say about a project, we are also sure of giving the funds towards the project. But you see, when we are doing the budgets at the national and we are not giving the dispatch in the correct time, we delay the process of development within the county. Secondly, I want to urge the national government that the 15% is meager compared to what the county are undertaking today. Today, we realize that the defunct city council and the municipal council and county councils had lots of many people who are employed then, but these people were swallowed in the county government. You see, the 15% that is given to the government, to the county government, is not sufficient to pay the workers, and it's not sufficient for the development as it is today. And I want to request that it should be increased from 15% to 30% to help the county government develop and have its feet on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. One last gentleman here. Just start by introducing yourself, sir.
I am Isaiah Onyango. I am a former MCA of Railways Ward. What I would want to say is that devolution is working. I heard some people yesterday saying that devolution is not doing much. But one thing that Kenyans must understand is devolution has been there for 5 years. So 5 years, maybe they could not do much. What I would say is we have so many nursery schools. We also have dispensaries, a lot of them, and opening of roads and other things. The only thing is that I believe that the money that is being disbursed to the counties is not enough. The central government would have see a way of disbursing a lot of money, and they remain with a very minimal percentage, so that can make the counties to move forward better than what they are doing. And at the same time, they should release this money very early. There is no need of waiting until the end of the year is when they release the money. So by the time the counties want to start working, make good use of this money, already the time has elapsed and they are going to another budget. So this one brings a lot of pending bills.
Okay. Speaking of funds, we also know that a lot of these funds in some counties have been embezzled. Don't you think that is a challenge or a short?
Yeah, surely it is a challenge, but it is a national challenge. The systems that are working, the institutions that are working on this corruption and other things, they should stretch to go down to the counties and at the central government as well, so that they make good, they arrest these people, they take them to jail, and those who are will start again trying to embezzle the funds. Now they will fear, they will know that if you do this, the repercussion is there. So because we are every time reading that so and so has been called DCIO and so on, nobody has been jailed. So how can somebody say, if I do this, I'll be jailed? Yeah, it is better they make good time of what they have gathered and take people to court and jail them. Okay. Yes.
You are a one-time member of the County Assembly of Kisumu, and county assemblies and the executives have been having issues that actually they have been blamed for derailing development in the counties. The sour relationships. We witnessed that, yes, the assembly, even here in Kisumu, in Homa Bay, and a lot of other places. We've seen the county assemblies not seeing eye to eye with the executive in most of these situations, and therefore derailing development. What can you say about it?
Yeah, it is just about somebody to know the role. What is the role of an MCA? What is the role of chief officer? What is the role of the governor? So when there is conflict, you can even see it in parliament. When somebody is talking about the DCIO, about the anti-corruption institution and other institutions. So if we can learn to know exactly my role as an MCA, the role of the governor, and where we are connecting, then we would have no problems at the top of it. But the MCAs and the governors and the senators, sometimes even the senators, are getting into the work that should be done by the MCAs. So let us learn to know our roles as an MCA, as a governor, as a chief officer, and so on. Then we will fare on well. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, Zainab, those are thoughts from a section of Kisumu residents here. Positivities about devolution here. One of the counties that the devolution governance is said to have been sort of started, and therefore Kisumu is very key when it comes to issues to do with devolution. And those are some of the thoughts of residents here. We've just heard them. They are very positive about this sort of governance, and they're saying that they're actually calling upon the government or the members of parliament to consider allocating more funds to devolution to ensure that more development is trickling down to the ground here in most of the counties that we have in Kenya. Remember, we have 47 of them, and Kisumu is one of those key, as I've mentioned there, counties that devolution has been put under the microscope, being that the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who was one of the people who championed this mode of governance, traces his roots from. Back to you, Zainab.
So much, Okokusa, from Kisumu County. And of course, from the county, the residents of the different counties we've spoken to, they're quite confident on the state of devolution and what it can achieve within the counties and nationally as well. We're going to take a very short break, but when we come back, we'll be heading to Kirinyaga County, where the Devolution Conference is happening, and we're expecting President Uhuru Kenyatta to arrive any moment from now. Our reporter Kennedy Mureithi, as well as Melita Oletenges, will be taking us through the process there and what the governor's expectations are on the conference. Let's take a break. We'll be back in a short while. NTV Today. Now, the 6th Annual Devolution Conference is currently happening in Kirinyaga County, and we're expecting President Uhuru Kenyatta to officially open that conference. And we have Kennedy Mureithi on the ground, who will be giving us updates on the current state of the Devolution Conference. And of course, the theme is centered on the impact of devolution on the Big Four agenda. Mureithi, you've spoken to a number of leaders within the county, governors and senators. They're confident that the devolved system of government is working quite well amid the challenges that they're expecting and they're facing within the counties. Who are you speaking to now, and what are the expectations on the conference?
That the President Uhuru Kenyatta is almost coming in, and now we can see them, and almost all the governors are already walking in. And we've just grabbed Meru Governor Kiraito Murungi, who was walking in a hurry not to miss a seat. But we just said, let us catch up with him and to probably talk on this thing that is called devolution, the impact. But there is one question that is really begging, and it is being discussed, and it has been on the table since yesterday when we started all this, and that is the issue of youth employment. How are counties coming into this question and trying to help the youth in their particular counties to get employment? And we want to come with you, to you, Your Excellency, and there's that question that you've started in Meru County, and that is the Meru Youth Service. How is this playing into the job market for the youth in that particular county, and what lessons can devolution and counties learn from this?
Thank you so much. Actually, the youth question is a national question. In every county, people are concerned about youth unemployment, youth apathy, and basically, this is what we are trying to address in Meru. We discovered after going through our villages that it's not the fact that the youth are unemployed. Our youth are unemployable because the youth don't have the skills. And then many of the youth have lost the discipline. They don't have the culture of work. And it is necessary for us to skill the youth and discipline them for work so that they could be even available for the agenda of manufacturing and low-cost housing that is being talked about and Agenda 4. So in Meru, we started a unique project, which I'm very excited about, which we call the Meru Youth Service. The Meru Youth Service recruits youth from every ward, at least 20 youth from every ward, judged on the criteria of poverty. Orphans, people didn't do very well in school and all that. And we take them initially through a disciplinary course, which is supervised by officials from the National Youth Service and other disciplinary forces. And then after that, we take them to a polytechnic. So as we are talking now of 1,000 youth, which is the first batch, 600 in the Meru National Polytechnic, studying various courses from painting, welding, building skills and all that. And then I have 400 others who are trained as community health workers. We believe after they graduate in April this year, we'll be able to get all of them absorbed, either in our government projects or by the private sector, or others will be on their own. We are partnering with the Kenya Commercial Bank, which has promised to give startup loans to the youth who will be interested in entrepreneurship, to the youth who will be interested in starting their own businesses. And then there are also major opportunities in agriculture for the youth. So part of the Meru Youth Service is to interest our youth in opportunities in agriculture through a youth in agriculture program.
So in other words, what you're saying is that the moment that they are done with these courses that they are doing, you have to link them to banks so that they can become self-sufficient with regards, it's not about getting employed, but being self-sufficient.
Yeah, not all of them, of course, won't be employed. But we have arrangement with the Kenya Commercial Bank so that those who are interested, those who are able to do business, can be supported to start their own businesses. Say like those ones who are doing hospitality, those ones who are trying to do salons, those ones can be supported to start their own salons because they do not require a lot of money. But also, we have a major environmental program in Meru, a program of greening Meru, beautification of Meru, And we are going to have some of the youth, working with us, planting trees all over Meru. As you have seen now, we are planting trees from Nanyuki to Meru town. And we are doing that with some of the members of the Meru Youth Service. We intend to green all our highways in the next 2-3 years, and we'll be working with the youth. We are foresting our hills. Again, we shall be working with the youth. So for the youth who are willing to work, for the youth of the discipline, there are opportunities, and our message to them is, please don't give up. There is hope, and there is opportunity.
Well, then probably there is the question that has been very dear to so many governors whom have been speaking, and that is the question on health. And you have been quoted even during the cancer awareness that Meru County, or this region, records some of the highest number of cancer cases. What are we doing? Probably is it time that most counties came together and probably said that since this is a prevalent disease within this particular region, through these economic blocks, then all of them put resources into putting up a cancer unit in Meru. Then we go to another county and did the same. Or what do you think would be the best approach now, just to make sure that we bring down these cancer cases?
I think cancer has been a major, major problem. But the focus so far has been on screening, to find out how many people have cancer, what stage it is, and all that. But I think if we just screen without providing opportunities for treatment, we are just sentencing our people to death. Because the moment you are diagnosed with the cancer, your life changes. So what we are doing now is continue the screening, but move towards treatment. We are happy the national government has agreed that we set up a cancer center in Nyeri for the region, but that will not be enough. In Meru, we have the highest traffic of cancer cases in our region. So we have decided also to do a cancer center in Meru Level 5 Hospital, and it has started. We have recruited, a cancer specialist. We have drugs. We have chemotherapy. So the things which bring people to Nairobi, we are not doing them in Meru. So what we need to do is to enhance. What we need is to expand. And the many centers we have, the better. So instead of us pooling resources as governors to do one center somewhere, I would encourage every governor to try to do something in their own county. And then for the most complicated cases, like which require a PET scan, we ask the county government, the national government, to purchase a PET scan. It's an expensive machine, which they can put at Kenyatta Hospital, and then all those cases that now require that level of specialization can go to Kenyatta Hospital. The others we can deal with in our counties.
Well, thank you, Governor. I don't want to hold you so much because I know that you have an opportunity to probably attend to the other one. And thank you very much for your time. I know some of the things that you're talking about play so much into the Big Four because youth employment, if they get those employment, then they will be able to go into helping President Uhuru Kenyatta achieve the Big Four. And also that question on cancer has become so prevalent within this region. And I also remember during last week, there were proposals that the National Cancer Institute be set in motion so that some of these things as a country, we can address them. But also I had seen your deputy governor, I think he has already left, but also we are keeping a keen eye on what is happening here in Kirinyaga just to make sure that we capture each and every part of it all so that all the discussions that are going to be around this conversation, we are going to keep them tabs. He has spoken about the Meru Youth Service, which he says right now is playing a keen play in making sure that youth, over 1,000 of them, are getting jobs and also are becoming self-sufficient. And this is something that counties will be able to learn and probably implement them in the different places they are. Zainab, we are keeping a close eye and we'll be speaking to different people as we do get them so that we can get a 360 coverage of the 6th Devolution Conference. We have been able to tackle the question of how counties are enhancing the health services, and President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy Deputy William Ruto yesterday were able to laud the county governors in making efforts in trying to bring healthcare to the status that it is right now. You remember there has been a conversation on whether health should go back to the national government. But yesterday, it got the blessings of the top office in this country, whereby Deputy President William Ruto was even saying that counties, including Embu and others in Wajir, have been able to perform surgeries that were only performed in Nairobi. So there are strides that we've made. What will this devolution conference be making out of it? What will they be learning? There are partners, including Safaricom, who've come to this particular area, and they are saying that they are ready to partner with counties through public-private partnerships, so that some of these things are set up in the counties, so that the people in the specific regions they are, like Governor Kiraito has said, is that the youth, the Meru Youth Service, once they graduate, they are able to be linked up to the Kenya Commercial Bank so that they can access loans and put the training that they have learned into meaningful use so that they can make money out of it. So the end product is, what is that impact? And that is the question that is being asked at this 6th Devolution Conference. We'll be keeping an eye on it, and where immediately President Uhuru Kenyatta comes, we'll be able to give you a comprehensive report on what his speech will be all about. Right now, it's back to you, Zainab, in studio.
All right, Kennedy, before you leave, I'd just like to ask you a question here. I mean, there's been a lot of concern in terms of the state of graft within the counties. Just the other day, the Auditor General alleged massive wastage of public resources within the counties. Is this something that we expect to be tackled? Maybe you can speak perhaps to one or two governors on what they are aiming to do in order to eradicate and disentangle themselves from the graft that is completely affecting every single aspect of this sector.
Well, Zainab, as you've said, corruption is a serious matter in counties, and there is something that is always being said, that corruption has actually been devolved. And we've already seen even arrests that were made, and we've even seen people who have been called in for question. A case in point is the Samburu governor, who was called into the EACC the other day to shed light, and they say that he was ready to work closely with the EACC just to get to the bottom of what is happening in counties. And there is a tighter noose that is supposed to be there, and counties through the Senate are saying that they are going to enhance the oversight role, so just they make sure that these counties do not become bastions of corruption, but also become bastions of development. And the money that is there, we are saying that the DPP, the EACC, the DCI, they are tightening the noose just to make sure that anybody who is even mentioned in corruption is called in to answer to questions on what is happening in their counties. Yes, it is a serious matter, and we do expect probably President Uhuru Kenyatta will be speaking on this, so that the money that is forwarded to counties is not just going into corruption or into corrupt dealings, but going into helping people. There are success cases, as some of the governors we've spoken to since morning are saying, but there is also the ugly side of it, and that is to do with corruption as it is. Right now, we are seeing that the government is becoming so serious with this issue of corruption, and anybody who is caught with his hands in the cookie jar is not going to be let loose. So we'll be speaking to this, probably the next interview that I'll be having, Zainab, which is not very far from now, if we do get other people, because right now they are really rushing in. Those are signs that President Uhuru Kenyatta is almost here. But it will be interesting to see what their views are, because you remember that Senate has a different view. The Auditor General, even in their tabulation of what is happening in the counties, if they do sense that some money that was set aside for this particular work has been diverted and put into this other particular work, then there are question marks, and governors should be called in to answer to these questions. So it is a conversation that we'll be having, Zainab, and we'll be keeping tabs on it, and we'll be talking to many others so that they can give us a view on what this is all about. Right now, it's back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Kennedy Mureithi. And of course, we will be engaging Mureithi later on as he continues to bring us updates from Kirinyaga County on the state of devolution that is currently happening. That is the 6th annual devolution in Kirinyaga County. President Uhuru Kenyatta, we understand, is expected to arrive any moment from now. Now, this year's conference comes, however, at a time where governors have also been embroiled in a lot of, graft-related charges. But But governors have also been accused of doing little to improve service delivery to the citizenry. This is some of the issues that we expect to be addressed during that particular conference. But before we join Mureithi and our other reporters who are spread across the country, another developing story of politics and graft is that Deputy President William Ruto and his allies are keeping up the heat on NASA leader Raila Odinga, accusing him of plotting to scuttle President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy through underhand means in the war on graft. Now, the DP insisted that politics must be separated from the fight against corruption.
Let us prosecute the war against corruption using factual information. Why do people have a problem with that? Kwani, you don't want the war against corruption to be fought on solid evidence. You want it to be fought on the basis of propaganda. Are you really genuine about the war against corruption, or you are after politics? Unasikia hata wengine wanauliza, what interest does the Deputy President have in matters to do with dam construction? Really? Deputy President? What interest do I have? Of course I have interest. We have put it in the Jubilee Manifesto. Kama walikuwa wanataka majibu ndio hiyo. Tuendelee namna hiyo.
Vitu ya Jubilee ikianguka na ipikwe na watu wengine pamoja na huyo, mwenye kwenda hasara sio mimi, sio naibu wa rais, sio Kang'ata, sio nani. Sisi kwa Jubilee hatuna chama B na A. Sisi ni moja na mkubwa wetu ni Uhuru Kenyatta. Hasara ikitokea itaendea kwa mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta. Ndio ukiona mimi nimekuwa mkali, sio kwa sababu ya William Ruto, yeye sio rais wa saa hii. Mimi nakuwa mkali nikichunga Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kwa sababu sitaki mwaka 3 ikiisha ati ameenda nyumbani hakuna legacy yoyote, kwa sababu alifikiria tumeshikana pamoja, kumbe ile kushikana pamoja imekuja kuwa kuharibu ile legacy yake.
Kenyans are getting very angry. I can tell you this for a fact. Mkiharibu legacy ya Uhuru Kenyatta ya ufisadi, vita dhidi ya ufisadi, mjue wananchi wenyewe huenda wakajiamulia mambo haya.
And meanwhile, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has denied claims by a section of politicians that it was intentionally targeting people allied to the Deputy President in the fight against corruption. The Commission insists it is an independent body answerable only to Parliament. It also says that it will not spare anyone in its ongoing purge on corruption. At the same time, the Commission warned that its investigations could uncover other mega graft scandals that have cost the taxpayers billions of shillings. Aside from the dams scandal, the EACC has also handed over to the DPP a file on the 4.8 billion shillings prison scandal.
We are just answerable to the Parliament.
All right, now to a tragic story. 5 people were killed after a chopper they were flying in crashed at Lobolo in Central Island National Park in Turkana County last night. That's the other night. Now, the pilot, identified as Captain Mario Magonga, died alongside 4 other American passengers. And NTV's Sharon Baranga has more details.
At Section 6 Estate in Kitale Town, the family of Captain Mario Magonga gathers to confront their pain. Mario was killed alongside 4 Americans when the chopper he was in crashed at Lobolo in Central Island National Park in Turkana County. The crash happened last night, some minutes past 8 o'clock. His family now left with fond memories of him.
Sasa kwa kweli mtoto ndiye alikuwa ananisaidia sana. Ingawa kuna mali nilikuwa nimenunua na hivi ndiye alikuwa anashughulika naye. Ndiye alikuwa matumaini yangu kwa kweli. Nikitaka kitu hawezi kunipa mtoto yangu. Kwa shida. Sijui nitakuwa mama wa nani sasa.
It is reported that 2 choppers arrived at the Lobolo tented camp on Sunday. Turkana Deputy County Commissioner says that the tourists were set to travel on Monday to Central Island, that is about 75 kilometers from the shores of Lake Turkana. The 45-year-old pilot now leaves behind 3 children.
Mario was a very reserved kind of a person. He took his work seriously, and he did not involve us, the family, in the work that he was doing. I think because he realized it was a bit sensitive, and we're just shocked. We're shocked.
The wreckage of the helicopter and the bodies were found early today. Investigations are ongoing to determine the cause of the accident. Mario was also Deputy President William Ruto's pilot. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
And it is emerging that one of the night guards slain at the Kilingili Trading Center in Vihiga County alerted police at the nearby Kilingili police station that they were under attack. But the officers they found on duty allegedly declined to respond, saying the trading center was not within their area of operation. Okukusa returned to Kilingili and spoke with some of the bereaved families.
We go to Lwanaswa village in Kakamega County at 11 a.m. First stop, the homestead of 70-year-old Thomas Minao, one of the 5 guards brutally murdered at Kilingili Trading Center. Thomas is actually the guard said to have managed to run to the nearby Kilingili police station to report that they were under attack. His family is livid.
Afukuzwe na police station Kilingili, alafu tena arudi kwa magaidi wamalize hivi. Alikuwa anajaribu njia ya kujiokoa. So mambo hayo imetutia huzuni sana.
His sons claims that the old man had spoken of death threats 3 days before he was killed.
Huyo ndio suspect ambaye anatakana kuwa wa kwanza kushikwa, na I'm sure that huyu mtu atatambua hao watu. Ni kama ana combine na magaidi.
Thomas was a staunch member of Israel Nineveh Church. He has left behind a widow, Orba Minau, who is yet to come to terms with her husband's death.
Mimi naomba munisaidie.
In less than a kilometer away, we find the family of John Ondachi, grieving. John too perished in the horrendous killings. He had worked as a night guard for 2 years. His brother Alex Ondachi, who was among the first people to arrive at the scene, told us that John's cell phone was ringing even at that moment.
He died with his hand holding the phone in the jacket, which was strange. They didn't steal anything. I think he was trying to remove it to call for help.
Alex and a host of bereaved families have expressed dissatisfaction with the pace of police investigations, wondering why detectives had not visited the victims' homes more than 24 hours after they were murdered.
Now, from where I'm standing, on the left, those shops you're seeing right there are within Kakamega County, while the ones on my right, this side, are within Vihiga County. Now, policemen stationed at the nearby Kilingili police station, which is about 10 meters from here, claim, that is according to the residents here, that they can only handle cases that happen within Vihiga County, which is where the police station falls.
Na ule mkikuyu anaishi hapa, ataenda kuripoti Muranga. Ule mkisia na ripoti hapa, ataenda kuripoti Kisii. Munandi mwenye anaishi hapa, yeye ataenda kuripoti Eldoret. Maana ya polisi kwa utumishi kwa wote ni gani?
But Sabatiao CPD Januarius Mwangi dismissed the claims as unfounded, even as he confirmed the transfer of a number of policemen led by the officer commanding the station. At Mbale Hospital, we found John Shiroha and Boaz Oleta, both aged 65, fighting for their lives. The 2 men were also attacked, but managed to escape alive. Some residents suspect that the killers, said to be 30 in number, were out to annihilate aged guards, since all the watchmen targeted during the heinous operation were above 60 years. Okukusa, NTV.
Very unfortunate incident there in Kilingili in Vihiga County. But of course, remember today, the 6th annual Devolution Conference is taking place in Kirinyaga County. We have about 6,000 delegates who are in attendance or expected to be in attendance on that particular conference, which will be a week-long event from yesterday until Friday. And the theme is Deliver, Transform, Measure and remaining accountable. Now remember, the theme is centered on the impact of devolution on the Big Four agenda. It is not only unique but also relevant, as it will address what should preoccupy both levels of government for the next 3 years. There is a case of strengthening and deepening intergovernmental collaboration and creating ownership of the President's legacy agenda through the Devolution conference platform. We also understand that delegates are scheduled to discuss issues around agriculture, that is the Big Four agenda, the constitutional change, the regional economic blocks, as well as water and sanitation. Now, we'll also be taking a look at issues that will be raised on what counties will be able to take out or have been able to take out from the previous conference. For instance, what action has each of them taken towards actualization of the resolutions from the previous conferences. We also expect to see county budgets and policies become more responsive and answering to the imperatives of the Big Four agenda. Now, remember yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta met with governors where a decision was made on the healthcare sector, and nurses will no longer be hired on a permanent basis. That means that the national and county government had agreed to tackle the problem that continued to disrupt services, where employee strikes was one of the issues that came up. A statement now, which was signed by the Health CS Cicely Kariuki and the Council of Governors Chair Wycliffe Oparanya, said caregivers will work now on contract terms. Now, the statement came after that meeting between the President and the governors, who struck a deal to work together to avoid unnecessary tussles that would hurt services. They met at the State Lodge in Sagana. Now, the two levels of government had agreed to consult regularly and to speak in one voice on that matter. Remember, nurses from 14 counties just a few days ago have been on strike over pay rise and allowances. Some are yet to report back, and the plan by the state and the counties is meant to end strikes, which is to ensure that services in public hospitals are not disrupted. Now, the CS and Oparanya said disciplinary measures will be taken against nurses who failed to resume duty in the next 10 days. There are a number of challenges since yesterday. We understand there were a bit of security challenges where thieves broke into Royal Media Services car and stole equipment. Also, the Devolution conference was rocked by an accreditation hitch after it emerged that some of the delegates' badges had not been printed. But our reporter Kennedy Mureithi had assured us that most of the delegates have been able to enter the conference and are already seated, as you can see with the pictures there. That is the dome. We'll also be linking up with our Melita Oletenges, who is inside the dome, to give us a glimpse of what is happening, of the expectations, and of course the speeches that we expect and the issues that are expected to be tackled. We also have Kennedy Mureithi, who's outside the dome, just speaking to the governors and the guests that are coming in on what they expect, and a lot of issues that are coming in. Our reporters in the counties, of course, speaking to the residents in the counties who raised issues, but most of them are confident on the state of devolution, albeit a number of challenges, saying some of the issues that are rocking the counties is corruption and distribution of national resources. That is probably one of the biggest concern. We had earlier on Kennedy Mureithi speaking to Senator Lange, saying they're very right on the track, and devolution it's going on so well. And of course, the Big Four agenda should be approached from a top-down approach, saying devolution has created employment opportunities for young people. And we'll also be speaking on the state of the young people and what the youth, what state the youth are in terms of devolution, and where are they now, and how can they be incorporated in the devolution. But away from that, of course, before we listen in to what our reporter Kennedy Mureithi has to say, we understand the president is yet to arrive. We understand that we also have Martin Mora, who is in Muranga County. We spoke to him earlier on. He had a number of issues, speaking to some of the residents there, saying, some of the issues is, the national government. This is what the residents saying, that the national government is sort of like pushing, the Big Four agenda down the throat of the counties. This is some of the issues that I expect to see how they can be able to tackle, and a lack of infrastructural resources to implement the Big Four agenda. But in Kirinyaga, we have Melita Oletenges, like I said, he's inside the dome where the conference is currently happening. And let's link up with him. Melita, what is currently happening? What are the expectations so far? Who has arrived? What time is the president expected to arrive?
Thank you indeed, Zainab, as you put it. But earlier on, we were inside the dome, but at the moment, we've come outside just to observe who is making his way into the dome. And as you've mentioned, the president is also expected to officially open this devolution, the 6th devolution forum here in Kirinyaga County. But it's not yet clear what exact time he is going to arrive here. It is not indicated in the program, but speculations from our sources, we've been able to speak to a few of them. They're saying that between 11 to 1, the president is expected to arrive here at the main dome here in Kirinyaga University. So before that, Zainab, I'll be speaking to a number of guests here regarding the expectations in this 6th devolution conference. And some of the key issues that are going to be discussed here include the universal health coverage, as I mentioned earlier. But interestingly enough, also, Zainab, over the recent days, we've seen governors from different counties coming together to consolidate funds and work in what they name the economic blocks, just to forge a way forward for the development in their regions. We've seen these with the Central Region Economic Bloc. And we have now the Northern Corridor, Northern Economic Bloc. And just to dissect this further, I will now interview the Governor of Marsabit County, Muhammad Ali, just to let us in on how, on his expectations first, and tell us how have these economic blocks work and how would you advise going forward?
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother. I'm happy to have an opportunity here during this devolution conference, whose theme is to deliver, transform, measure, and of course, while remaining accountable to the people of Kenya. As an economic bloc, FCDC, we just concluded our workshop in Garissa on Friday. This is a bloc that represents basically the most vulnerable counties in the country in terms of having been marginalized for many, many years. But we have said, courtesy of devolution, we are able to manage ourselves. Resources are coming down to the counties, and we appreciate, we thank the Kenyan people to have given birth to this new dawn in our lifetime. And we said we have to really take our position and ensure that the lives and livelihoods of our people will be improved through us coming together. Our focus is, you know, these are pastoral communities where people basically depend on livestock. We have to position ourselves. Water, pasture has always been a problem in those areas. And we are keen in provision of water for our people. While we focus on ensuring that livestock is given the necessary focus that is required, we will be also trying to teach our people new skills so that the farming will not be left behind where it is possible, especially through irrigation, since rain-fed agriculture is a big problem, so that the dependency or relief will eventually stop. Also coming together, we have to provide voice for our people so that we are not disadvantaged. There are some people, some institutions in government who still live in those early days of not caring about some parts of this country. For example, you remember we articulated about the Equalization Fund. Equalization Fund was put in this constitution, in our constitution, to ensure that those counties will catch up with the rest of the country. Unfortunately, and very sadly so, only one time those funds were released. Up to now, we have a lot of funds meant for development of those areas lying idle. We want to come together as a bloc to petition the people, the offices concerned to ensure that these funds are released. While thanking the president for giving the support to this bloc when it was being formed at the inception, when he rallied the donor communities to focus, other officers, unfortunately, are not reading from the same script. The revenue sharing formula, which has been revised recently, disadvantages these areas. They are talking about basing majorly on population of this country. While we have no problem with that, we don't have to discard our other areas which are sparsely populated, you know? So we want to say that now we are awake, we are alive to the fact that devolution has to work for everybody, not selected group, not selected areas, all the nation. We must move together at the same pace. It's not like before, where sessional paper number 10 of 1965 insisted that Kenya will not invest in those arid areas. Those are the dark days which are gone now, courtesy of our constitution, and we must ensure that all the institutions charged with the responsibility of taking care of this government or this nation are aware of this fact, and they live to the aspirations of the constitution to the letter. That is essentially about the bloc.
Governor, looking at the scorecard since the devolution was officially born back in the year 2013, maybe what are the scores and what are the misses?
The scores are that the counties have made quite a number of strides in different areas. If you look at each particular county, they have something to showcase. For example, coming home, my own county, Marsabit, many things have been improved, especially in the health sector. Before, our people used to travel all the way to Nairobi for even small things. These referrals now have stopped. Only very critical situations that we cannot handle referred here. For example, we have a dialysis machine in the county. Our people need not to come here, right? They are getting that treatment back in the county. This has not been possible before. I have championed ensuring that our people got insurance cover through NHIF. We have started with the initial 10,000 households, totaling to about 60,000 when you look at the dependents. This is a major stride. When you look at polytechnics, for example, we've made them free for our people so that they can have an opportunity for training, getting skills, right? And many other counties have got many things that they have to show for, right? And we really appreciate. Only that we want to petition Treasury, the national government, Treasury Department especially, to release funds in good time. And also not to interfere with the revenue sharing formula, which has been passed before. The current one under consideration is not really favorable to every county. They release financing, they release the delay releasing of finances to the counties, and eventually they create headlines saying that funds are idle in the counties. They are not consumed. People have no capacity. But they delay. They release towards the end of the financial year. That is bogging us down. We are here to tell them that they must speed up releasing of the finances to the counties.
Lastly, Governor, the issue of water and sanitation is going to be discussed here. And your county is one of the counties that has challenges in terms of water scarcity and things like that. What are your suggestions in this devolution conference? What do you bring to the table in terms of maybe the solutions that are available in order to achieve water and distribution in your county?
Very important. Thank you very much. Water is very critical, especially to my county and many other frontier counties. FCDC county members, because it's the biggest challenge that we have. My suggestion, number one, let us invest heavily in water. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have a lot of water that goes to waste through surface runoff. Rainfall, normally when it rains, it's heavy downpour, which doesn't last long, especially in those areas, but this water normally goes to wastage. So let's invest in big dams. For example, in my area, we have Ethiopian Highland. We are bordering the Ethiopian Highlands, and we have a lot of water going through seasonal rivers and the rest. Let the national government also support us, because the funding that we have at the county is not enough to invest on those large dams. We keep hearing of very large dams being done, I don't know what, and in left, right, center, in very many areas. And sadly, although we don't complain that development should go to the rest of the counties, but the ones that critically need that kind of support are these FCDC counties, like a county like myself and others, Mandera, Turkana, whatever. And all of us know, let us devolve. Because when we say national government share, and they keep 85% of the funds, there is nothing called just national where you go and invest. You have to invest in the counties, because the total sum of the counties is what makes a national government. So these funds must be invested in areas where these funds are needed most, and that includes the FCDC and pastoral community areas.
Thank you so much. That has been the Governor for Marsabit, Muhammad Ali, speaking to us about a number of issues, including the allocation of monies to the counties, saying that the Treasury sometimes releases the money quite late, and that makes the money remain idle in some of the counties. But one of the most important issues he's been able to touch on is the issue of water in some of these marginalized northern counties. And he's saying that the solution to this is to invest in water catchment in this area, so that's to ensure efficient distribution of water in these areas. So apart from that, also the governor has also been able to touch on the devolution and how it has worked for the past years that it has been on, and he's saying that the devolution has brought resources close to the Mwananchi in different parts of the country, and he's saying that this is the way to ensure that the residents get access to affordable health services and among other facilities. So these are some of the issues that we'll be looking at here. And remember, the devolution conference in particular will be discussing the Big Four agenda, the President's Big Four agenda, and that includes water and sanitation, manufacturing and trade, affordable housing, and affordable health, universal health coverage rather. So at the moment, Zainab, we've had a number of governors streaming into this compound and filtering into the dome just to attend the proceedings. In fact, the session inside the dome has already kicked off, and as I said earlier, the president is expected here at the Kirinyaga University to officially open, or rather to launch the start of the devolution, 6th devolution conference here in Kirinyaga. Over to you.
And thank you so much, Melita. We'll be waiting for the president to arrive so we can get more details on the same. But let's now link up with Martin Mwaura in Muranga County with more details of what the residents of Muranga have to say on the state of devolution. Martin?
Thank you once again, Zainab. As you have rightly said, yes, we are coming live from Muranga County. We had spoken earlier about I've crisscrossed the Muranga town just to look for more residents, the real Wanjiku on the ground, just to tell me, maybe has devolution worked for him? I just want let them talk for themselves. And let me invite this good friend of ours here. I want you to start by introducing yourself and tell us, according to you, has devolution really worked since we started in 2010?
Hi, I'm Kahura Murioki, a resident of Muranga town. To me, devolution has worked to some fair extent nationally, because we've seen changes, especially so in the marginalized counties, which never used to enjoy a lot of resources from the national government. I've been to Turkana, seen people attest to the fact that they've seen street lights, they've seen water pumps being done, roads, and courtesy of devolution. But to some, there have been some negative side of devolution, taking into account that we've had a lot of information, negative information in the media, exposing some litany of corruption and pilferage of resources nationally. We've seen governors taken to court, chief officers and other persons, senior persons in the county governments. This is a trend which needs to be checked. More so, we also need to have some political goodwill from the national government as regards seeing to it that devolution works. This is with regards to the timely disbursement of resources in terms of the revenues. We don't want an escalation of the prevailing situation whereby we have governors and the county executives complaining that there is delay in terms of disbursement with contractors not being paid on time, and the county staff having delayed salaries and basically some slowdown of services provision and the like. Yeah.
Coming closer home, has devolution really worked or touched you as Wanjiko of Muranga?
Fairly, yes, because the moment we have the contractors paid, we have an increased disposable income and they purchase stuff around. So local business grows. We've had value of property going up and the like. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. Okay, let me talk to another young gentleman over here. Just start by introducing yourself and maybe tell me, according to you, has devolution really worked for you, or Wanjiko as they call themselves?
Thank you, Mr. Maura. My name is Gashusha Manoa. I'm a resident of Muranga town. If I was asked to gauge the status of devolution in Kenya on a scale of 1 to 10, I would confidently give it a 7% or a 7 out of 10. Reason being, if you compare the economy of this maybe Muranga County now, you compare to maybe 7 years ago, you see that the economy of this county has grown. For example, we have in a mega flagship project as the Muranga County of the Creameries cooperative that has been launched in a few weeks' time. That's a factory that will employ more than 400 of our residents in this county. So it's something that could not be have done, that could be not done if we didn't have devolution. Some of other reasons or parameters that you can use to gauge devolution in this county is the fact that land has really increased in prices. Appreciation of land has really raised up, and among other things, we can see the biashara or businesses have really improved, and the purchasing power of people has also been up to the mark. Yes.
And maybe, according to you, how has devolution, you're a young man, how has devolution maybe impacted on the youth? In terms of maybe, do they get contracts? You know, there's that a certain percentage of the government said should go to women, people living with disabilities, and the youth. Do you think this is being followed, and has it really uplifted the lives of the youth in this county?
Thank you, Mr. Maura. So I would say that in some of the counties, the 30% rule has not been honored, has not been met. But in some of the counties, we have seen counties giving out opportunities like internship opportunities to our youths. We have counties that have been paying school fees in forms of bursaries to our youths. We have counties where youths have been encouraged to apply for loans that have zero interest rates. Yes, to some extent, I would say that there are counties that have supported the youths. But personally, I'm not a beneficiary of such. But there are counties that have supported the youths in a great extent. Yes.
In terms of corruption, maybe, what is your take, and what is your call to governors?
I think to a small extent, we also devolved corruption, because we've had cases in different counties where the DCI has been on the radar. So I would say that corruption has also been devolved, and I would request the necessary governments, the county governments, to avoid corruption, and so that we'll pay the staffs on time, and they also pay our contractors on time, so that more money can go to Ajiko. Yes.
Yeah. We know, maybe my last question to you, we know there are some of the departments that were devolved. That is maybe health, there is agriculture, environment, and others. According to you, what has worked, and which department has worked and what has not? And maybe do you think is the long-term solution to such?
One of the main aspects, or one of what I can say that has worked, is agriculture. In most of the counties, agriculture has really worked. We have seen counties like Nyeri, during the former governor's tenure, he wanted to start a coffee factory. They wanted to process their coffee before they sold it. In our county, Muranga, we have seen that we are having a flagship project that is a milk processing plant. We are yet to have a processing plant for mangoes or other fruits. So I can say that agriculture has really worked in most of the counties, but health has not worked. So I think we can form maybe a health service commission that will deal with matters of the nurse. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay. I have a lady over here. Let me talk to her. Nataka tu unianzie na majina karibia. Nataka tu nianzie na majina na uniambie kulingana na wewe ugatuzi ama devolution. Kutoka tuanze mfumo wa counties. Ni nini imefanya kazi na ni nini haijafanya kazi?
Asante Mwaola, majina naitwa Gladys Mudhoni. Nikienda kwa devolution, nikienda kwa kilimo iko sawa. Lakini tukienda kwa job, makazi iko chini juu license tumeongezewa. Sasa tukiongezewa license, hakuna kazi ziko chini, lakini hawataki kujua hivyo. Sasa tuko chini sana, lakini tunaomba Mungu at least kutakuwa poa. Okay.
Asante sana. Haya. Zainab, as you have just had some of the comments from Muranga residents, back to you.
Thank you so much, Martin Mora from Muranga County, just sampling some of the views of the residents from Muranga on what they expect from the devolution conference and what they think of the state of devolution at this point. And it's almost 11 a.m. and we expect President Uhuru Kenyatta to arrive any minute from now in Kirinyaga County, where the 6th annual devolution conference is currently happening. We have our team on the ground. We have Kennedy Muredi, we have Melita Oletengas just keeping us updated on everything that is happening. Now remember, the 5-day meeting seeks to bring together all the governors from across the country to discuss what they've been able to achieve and to deliver throughout their respective counties. The conference, remember, is also anchored on the government's Big Four agenda, that is trade, agriculture, health, affordable housing and infrastructure sectors. And it also marks a very important milestone in devolution, which will give stakeholders an opportunity to review performance of the county governments. Well, as we expect the president to arrive any minute from now, and I'll be handing over the baton now to my colleagues Daniel Mule and Kaltun Jama to take over in the Swahili version. NTV Sasa, which will be coming right up your way in just a few minutes, is to remind you the fact that the president will be arriving any minute from now in the Kirinyaga University in Kirinyaga County, where that annual devolution conference is currently happening. It is almost 11 a.m. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Zainab Ismail and thank you for watching NTV Today. Good morning.
This is NTV.